And hello, all my cruising and travel fans. I'm your host, Rob, from Cruising on the High Seas and Travel. Today we have a very special guest, one of my best friends, and I have finally got to cruise with him for the first time this past September. And his name is Dewey Skis. Some of you guys may know him, some of you guys may not. But let's bring him on up. Give me a thumbs up if you're ready, Dewey. Here's my friend Dewey. Hello,
Hey,
Dewey.
everybody. Good evening.
How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful.
That's good. So, I finally got to cruise with you for the first time this past September.
Yep,
Didn't we?
on Magic, wasn't it?
Yes, it was on the Magic.
Yep, that was fun. It was a good trip.
For sure it was. And today we are talking the differences between the cruising and doing a land vacation, like any type of land vacation. Like we're talking like just driving somewhere or even going to like Jamaica or Cuba or wherever it may happen to be, like a land resort. And the reason why I have you here today is because I know you've done that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Besides the cruising, where I only covered the cruising side. So that's why I brought you in here today to help us compare the differences between, because I can't compare a resort because I've never been to a resort. So,
And I did a lot of U.S. based land stuff before cruising started, because once COVID started to lessen up where you could do stuff, I did the round the country Amtrak trip. I went to Branson. I went to Las Vegas. I was doing all kinds of stuff here in the country until they opened up outside the country. And then I started doing the all-inclusive resorts like in Cancun and Punta Cana. and then once cruising started, I've been doing that again like usual.
it sounds like you really enjoyed that Punta Cana.
Oh yeah, Punta Cana was one of my favorite. I can't even say it. So
Just talking about makes you choke
they
over it.
They can't all be good.
No, it cannot be, unfortunately. But we all know about the about the cruising type of stuff, where you get to jump on an amazing ship and it sails to beautiful islands. And all the food's included and all that stuff, and it's loads of fun.
And land-based can be just as much fun depending what you're doing. Now, when you go to the all-inclusives, that is almost like cruising, except you're not going somewhere different every day. Because with the all-inclusives, you still get your booze, you get your food, all of the facilities and all that stuff. So it's like being on a cruise with just sea days because you don't go anywhere new. But then when you're land-based in the U.S., unfortunately, U.S. doesn't have a lot of all-inclusive type places to go. So you have to pay for everything as you go, basically. I wish they had more all-inclusive resorts here in the U.S.
It would be nice, but unfortunately, there's not a lot of all-inclusive resorts within the U.S.
I've only heard of a very small handful, and
yeah. But first things first, let's dive on into the chat and say hello to the people. First one up in the chat tonight was Mr. Cruise Nuts. Welcome on in.
Hello, Cruise Nuts. Welcome.
And then the second one diving on into the chat is one of my buddies, about half hour or 45 minutes away from me in the next city over, is Christopher.
Hello, Christopher.
This guy I went to school with.
Oh.
Yeah. So welcome on in.
Let me see if I can. I'm trying to.
We gotta convince this Christopher guy to do cruising.
He's never cruised yet?
He's never cruised yet.
Oh boy.
So we need to convince him to cruise.
I need to see if I can find the YouTube channel here and uh, share the link on my site. See if we can get some people to come.
Yes, sirree. Because I've been after him for a number of times just to come on a cruise with us, but he hasn't yet said he wants to come.
He does want to?
He wants to, but he has some things in the way.
Well, that's good. That's half the battle. Some people have fears of it or whatever, and they don't want to, so that makes a big difference.
Yep.
Okay, let's see. I'm trying to find the link to this one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, click on the live button. I can't find your video on YouTube.
That's strange.
I found your channel anyway, so.
Should be able to find it if you just go to the live button. If you're on my channel.
I clicked on the live button. The last one they showed is last week's show.
Okay, let me see if I can help you out. Click on there. Go to my channel. Share. Copy. Dewey. And paste. There you go.
Thank you.
Easy peasy.
Okay, well, let me go to my sites and share that. Maybe we can get some more people here.
Yes, sir.
Okay, see Facebook.
And then over here is one of his better halves. I also want to go with her is Emma. And of course, one of my moderators, Mr. Scotty. This guy here, Scotty, he has a lot of energy.
Oh yeah, good old Scott. He's one of a kind.
I'm sure you know Scotty.
Oh yeah.
I have no idea.
I think everybody knows him.
I don't know how he has that much energy in him. But one of these days, I will hopefully get to meet him.
Yeah, I have not met him yet, but I've seen him online. I've been on the Match Game show before.
Maybe if I make 4.0, maybe if he makes my my dream cruise, who knows? One of these days we will meet Scott. So, what does land vacations offer when you go to resorts besides staying at the physical resort?
Well, if you go to like an all-inclusive resort, they're very similar to cruises in the fact that you got all your food, all your drink, the pools, all the facilities, if they have shows, stuff like that. And there's also usually excursions you can do in the local area depending on where you're staying. And so they usually have a tour desk where you can book excursions just like you do on a cruise and go tour the sites or go to whatever they have depending on where you're at. So
I see.
One more post here. Okay, I got us both posted. So
sounds good.
So hopefully we'll get some people showing up.
And then of course, with it being all inclusive, it also means free drinks.
Yes. And you can, like, the first one I went to, it was just everybody. And then the second one I went to, we had an adults only area. So we didn't have any kids. We had our own private pool and bar and everything. And that was really nice because we didn't have to worry about being haved.
Yes, sirree. And then compared to cruising, you kind of have to kind of get the alcohol package.
Depending on how much you drink. I don't drink much anymore, so I don't get it. And on a lot of cruises, I already get some free drinks because of my status or my casino play, and that's always plenty for me. I'm happy as long as I got water or sodas. So
Yeah, but like to make it like an all inclusive, you would have to.
yeah, you'd have to have the booze package to make it all inclusive. And like a lot of ships, some of the resorts, some of their dining rooms are additional costs, just like the
Oh.
upscale dining rooms are on ships. So you can encounter the same kind of things.
I thought it was all expenses done.
Most of it is, but occasionally you'll find some that do have a upscale dining room that they offer. They're not as many like on ships because the ships anymore they got so many. But I think one resort we went to, I think they had two different upscale places, and I can't remember if the Punta Cana one had anything. They weren't worth it if they did charge. So that was one thing I did not like in the Dominican Republic. Food in Dominican Republic is nasty. Nothing tastes like it should.
Wasn't the way it was supposed to be.
Nope. You eat their bacon, their steaks, or anything. It's just like it wasn't that it tasted bad, but it just didn't taste like what you were expecting.
It's not like the way how we have it over here in North America.
Yeah, their animals must be raised differently there or whatever, and it just or something about how they prepare it or store it. I don't know what it was, but the bacon didn't taste like our bacon. The beef didn't taste like our beef, and it just wasn't. Now, if you ate stuff like in the buffet that was all kind of mixed and stuff like that, most of that was pretty good because most of the time you didn't know what you were eating anyway. So.
Probably because you were still a little hungover, or.
And for the most part, the service was usually pretty good. In Cancun, service was outstanding. I mean, people there, when we went, of course, it was shortly after everything reopened. So everybody was so thrilled to have tourists. And they were just constantly, just thanking you. And they were almost just treating you like royalty everywhere you went. Now, when we went to Punta Cana, that was a different story. They acted like, what the hell are you doing here? They didn't. Nobody seemed to be happy to see you, and when you had problems, they did very little to resolve them, and it was. Okay.
Yeah, just one of the sites trying to sell me stuff.
But a lot of people like the Dominican Republic. They've had no problems going to them. We just had a bad experience, so I should probably try it again before I totally poo-poo it, but it'll be a while before I'm willing to do that.
You're more bound to want to do some more cruises or go to other land resorts before you.
I'll do resorts anywhere besides Dominican Republic for a while. I have to get in the mood to give them a try again, and it's that they left a bad enough sour taste. I won't be doing that for a while. But there's plenty of other places to go. You can go to so many other places for Dominican or Jamaica, and I know that's got a lot of popular ones. So we've been talking about doing some more all inclusives. We just haven't planned anything yet.
Yep, for sure.
But unlike cruises, you have a lot more space to roam around. In most of them are quite huge properties with multiple pools, with huge pools. Unlike on the ships where they just have the small pools and they can be crowded sometimes.
And they're what, 24/7 pools?
No, most of them are open pretty late, like till 10 or so. There's usually not too much problem with people wanting to be out late because by the time you get that time of night, you have the late night or the evening shows going on, and then people are so pooped from everything they did all day, they're pretty much quick to turn in. So
Well,
there were,
quick
were
quick
too many
to
people.
then to go to the late night show or go to the clubs or
Yeah. So because the shows were usually pretty good. In the Dominican Republic, we had at the pool the first um, person we had as our bartender. He was good. First couple days, we had no problem. We were tipping good, and he was bringing us drinks regularly and all this stuff. But then he must have had some time off, and another guy came in, and that's when all the problems started. Because I don't know if it was the first day he was there or what, but three of us got so drunk on so few drinks. We don't know if he drugged the drinks or if he gave us some bootleg liquor or what, but I was laid out, sloppy ass drunk on a lounge chair after just 3 drinks. Vizo, he got the day before that, he got plastered on very few drinks, and he's a big drinker. And
Greg.
Do what?
Greg?
No, Greg wasn't at that one.
Oh, I thought he was.
No, I don't think so. If he was, he didn't get drunk. Um, um, Ronnie and Alma. You know how much they drink. They got plowed one night, and Ronnie just kind of fell into the bushes, and they both had to be taken back to their room with help. I had to be helped back to my room. But the funny thing was, all of us that got drunk, we sobered up quickly. By late night, we were sober. We were hungry because most of those time we missed dinner. We didn't have any hangovers of any sort, so it was very weird. We don't know exactly what they did.
Interesting.
But they got to the point we only drank beer and wine because we didn't trust anything they had to mix. And that's a known problem in the Dominican Republic with alcohol, because people there are known for bad alcohol. People have gotten alcohol poisoning and died there because of that. When you go on excursions, especially like the ones that go out in the water, they're not allowed to serve alcohol on the boats at all because of that. So they do have a lot of regulations in effect because of that. So the country is aware of it. It just doesn't mean it's all fine and dandy.
Yep, because for some strange reason, alcohol and water don't really mix too well with each other.
Yeah. But it didn't stop you from bringing your own on the boats, because we did a tour of an island, and so some people brought some drinks on with them. So as long as the boat didn't serve it to you or sell it to you, I guess it was okay. But you had to be careful, because if the boat got stopped and you were caught with the alcohol on there, it was a serious fine for the boat owner. So they were very careful about all that stuff.
I see. So the question I'll be asking to everyone, yourself and everyone that's in the chat, is if you could choose between cruising or a land-based vacation, which one would you rather have?
Cruising is my favorite, but I still like land-based enough that if somebody was planning one of those, I wouldn't mind doing that either, because they can be just as much fun in their own way. So, and as much as I've cruised, sometimes it's nice to have a variety. I've really wanted to do some land-based here in the U.S. I love to road trip. I love to drive. I have no problems with driving. I'd love to go to, there's so many places in this country I've yet to see. Even living here in Florida, I have yet to be, I'd never driven down to Key West along all the Keys. I'd love to do that. I haven't been in the Everglades on one of the airboats and seen an alligator. All that stuff has been here 3.5 years. I've yet to see a single alligator, which I guess is good. At least that means they're not crawling around in my backyard. But
yeah.
But I would love to do Route 66. I've never been to the Grand Canyon. There's a lot of things I haven't done in this country. So
Yeah, like I've done the Grand Canyon, but I haven't like gone down the Grand Canyon because
I think that would be. There's so many cool places to visit, and
that alone is just an excursion.
oh yeah, yeah. That takes you a few days with everything, especially if you're into hiking and you want to hike down there. Whew. Me, I'll take a more relaxing way. Thank you.
Yep, I think I would take the more relaxing way to go down.
Yeah, I'm not much of a hiker,
Oh,
especially going down wouldn't be so bad. But boy, if they had to walk back up, there's no way.
yep, for sure indeed.
But that's where you youngsters have the advantage over us oldsters. So,
Yeah, I guess that's what it would be for sure.
what is your number one bucket list place you'd like to do or go to or see?
Well, my number one bucket list probably would be a Mediterranean cruise now.
Oh yeah, I could handle that. I haven't been much in Europe. Although I did do a German river cruise for 2 weeks, a couple of summers, 2 or 3 summers ago. But that's about the extent of it. So
Yeah, I think I recall you doing that one too.
yeah, but I haven't. We did Germany. We went to Austria and Czechoslovakia, and that was it. So I would like to go and do some more traveling in Europe. I think that would be. There's so many awesome places in Europe to
Yeah,
see.
yeah, for sure indeed. Because there's so many places over there I would love to see, like Italy, France,
Oh yeah,
Germany.
and even places you've never heard of are still just as awesome when you see the the videos of people that are doing them and what they see there and stuff. It's like wow. My number one bucket list item though is still the Maldives.
It's
I
the
would
what?
the Maldives.
Okay.
I would love to go to the Maldives, but that's not something you do solo. You got to do that with somebody special so you can enjoy it properly.
Yep. And whereabouts is that?
That is in the, I don't know if it's technically in the Indian Ocean or if it's still part of the Pacific Ocean, but it's over that direction. It's like
Okay.
between Africa and India, somewhere in there.
Okay. So along that direction.
Yeah, you gotta fly over to Europe or to the Middle East somewhere, and then you take like a smaller plane to another island, and then a seaplane to get out to the actual island where you're staying, and it's quite a chore to get there.
And no alcohol.
And no alcohol.
It's in the Indian Ocean.
Ah, okay, it is in the Indian Ocean. Okay,
I see. I see.
and most of those resorts are all inclusive as well, I believe.
Hmm.
And they're just beautiful. The waters are gorgeous and beautiful beaches, and hmm, the places you stay in are just so luxurious, and it's like, oh my gosh. Every time I watch one of those, I just kind of drool.
Nice. Nice. But out of all the land resorts that you've gone to, which one was your best one? Because I know which one was the worst one, obviously. So let's go with the best.
The best would have been the one in Cancun. It was the Rio Bravo Peninsula, and we stayed in the adult only section. So they had a whole couple of buildings that were just adults, and then the pool was just adults, and our own bar and everything. Even had our own restaurant, but it wasn't open very often. But so you had all kinds of you could still see the family pool and stuff. It wasn't like we were tucked away in the boondocks somewhere, but at least you had no kids in the pool with you, so you could do what you please and didn't have to worry about all the kids getting to be obnoxious and in your way. And with our group, that was good that the kids weren't around.
Yep. And then, of course, when it comes to cruising, I guess any cruise is a good cruise.
Oh, yeah. Yep. So anytime you're on a bad cruise any day is better than a good day on land. So I don't have too many bad cruises.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this one because this will be my 5th MSC ship that I've been on. So, and I've heard a lot about it. I've read a lot about it. I've seen a lot of videos on it. And it seems like it's going to be really nice. So I'm looking forward to seeing what it's like.
Yep. Hello, what? Darian.
Hey, Darian, welcome.
Welcome on in. And that's another person that does quite a few land vacations over to Germany.
Yeah. I would love to travel to Germany with him sometime with all of his knowledge of stuff. Because the riverboat was nice, but it's just like on cruises. You're only someplace a few hours and then you move on. And I love that. So many places. I would love to go there and visit more intensively. And you go with somebody like him who knows so much about it. That would be an awesome trip.
It would be. And to me, I think it would be well worth it too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because he's so knowledgeable and he loves Germany so much. So, and he goes there so often. So,
especially here, the Biscotti ice.
Ah, yes, Biscotti ice. I had some of that while I was there. So, had to have that. Can't go to Germany without trying that.
No, you can't leave Germany without trying that.
Good point. Yeah, we got lucky too because the town we were in that we wanted to try it, they didn't take credit cards, so we had to get cash. Well, my cards didn't work in their banks. So we didn't think we were going to be able to get any at all. And then somebody that was in our group, they loaned us some money so we could go in the place and get some Biscotti ice and stuff. And then when I got back on the ship, I paid them back. But that was the first. I had never traveled in Europe before with my cards, and I think the only card that bank would have taken was Discover, and my Discover was not in functional use at the time. So
I see.
So I couldn't. Or no, I take that back. It's the other way around. That was the only card I had with me, and it wouldn't take it. I had other cards on the ship, but I mean in my luggage, but it wasn't with us where we were at, so that didn't do me any good. It used to be Discover was the only card I had, and then I found out that they don't take that in many places in Europe. So I thought, okay, so I got American Express, because of course American Express is everywhere, right? Wrong. You need Visa or MasterCard in Europe. So then I started getting more credit cards, and it's like that was my downfall.
Yep. No, American Express isn't too popular.
Yeah, I was surprised because I thought it was. And once I got it and found out that they don't pick that very many places in Europe either, it's like, well, that was a waste of time. So
it's not one of the major cards out there.
No. Nope, they're in the Visa and MasterCard. So
it's all about Visa and Master.
But at least when you're in the islands, you got to need so.
You definitely do.
I'm trying to think. It's a 5-day cruise, and I'm trying to think of where else do we go to more places than just those two.
You probably have Cozumel in there.
No, I would remember that one. Let's see, 2025. No, I don't have it on my phone. Let's see. Let's go to there and Adventures 25, Davina, and Documents. Okay, let's see where we're going.
You said you leave when? Next week?
It's a Monday through Friday. Yeah, we leave Miami on Monday. We have a sea day Tuesday.
5-day, right?
Yep. Nassau on Wednesday, Ocean Cay on Thursday, and back home Miami on Friday.
Yep.
Ocean Cay is nice. That's their private island, and it's not like Perfect Day at Coco Cay. They don't have water parks and all that kind of stuff, but it's nice and clean and pristine. They have a lot of wonderful little beach areas to swim where the water is nice and it's not rough and rocky and all. And they have water sports you can do, like jet skis and stuff like that. And they have different areas, like if you're in the upper level, like the yacht club and all that, then you can get VIP treatment. And they do have a few shops there. And they have one beach where near a white lighthouse where in the evenings, if you stay late enough, they have bonfires and dance parties on the beach. And the lighthouse has a light show. It's all lit up with LED lights. So if you stay the night, you get to see it. And even if you don't, they usually, as you're getting ready to set sail, they set sail late enough that you can see the light show. They'll do the light show early when you don't spend the night, because it's only one ship at a time that goes there. So we are going to be there till, I think, 10 o'clock at night. So we'll probably be able to get some of the beach party, I would think, during that time. And it's always fun to watch the light show from the beach instead of from the ship, because the way the ship is faced, all the front end of the ship is like the VIP section, spa stuff and like that. So it's hard to find a good place to watch the light show from the ship.
I imagine it would be.
But I've been there on an overnight before, where we sat out on the beach by the bonfires, and they had a dance party going on with lights and a DJ, and then of course the light show with the lighthouse when it was on. That was really cool. So we'll see what they do this year.
See what they do.
And of course, MSC's got beautiful ships, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, nope, I haven't gone to MSC yet, but one of these days I'm going to go MSC.
They're definitely worth trying because they are good. They have I'm anxious to see how this one goes, because they've been in the U.S. long enough. They're kind of picking up some of the U.S. habits, unfortunately. The first time I was on them, they were wonderful. And it seems like each time I've been on them, services kind of had issues. And so I'm anxious to see how this ship is, if it's worse or if it's actually improved. But
yeah, because they're more European.
Mm-hmm. But they've been trying so hard to appeal to the U.S. audience that I think they're trying too hard, and they're kind of losing some of what was their charm. At least the last time it's been, I think, a couple of years since I've been on an MSC ship. So that's why I'm looking forward to seeing how this one is. I've heard a lot of good about this one from trusted sources, so I think it'll be a good cruise. But my very first cruise I was on, it was one of their big ships, the Meraviglia. And they still did announcements like in 7 different languages. And so if you every time, it's not bad enough when you hear announcements being done on a ship and you think, will they ever shut up? Well, just imagine them doing it 7 different times in a different language each time.
Yeah, it'll take a long time just to get through all the languages.
Yeah. And then a lot of times, especially on that ship, you don't hear English that much when you're roaming around. You'll hear all kinds of other languages because there are so many other nationalities on the ship. I think the one time, I think when we were on the Meraviglia, there was 78 different nationalities on the ship.
Mhm.
So that's a lot of countries to be represented.
Yeah, no, when was it? Early last year. That when I went out of Puerto Rico. It was the first time we actually had two languages on board that was put in the announcements.
Really? Spanish and English?
Spanish and English.
Yeah.
All
Yeah, and
the
it's funny too, depending on where you travel from, depends on the makeup of your passenger list too. So even here in Florida, traveling out of Miami, traveling out of Fort Lauderdale, and traveling out of Port Canaveral are three different kinds of groups of people you'll sail with. You travel out of Miami, it's mostly um, the Hispanic and Latin people.
And New Yorkers.
And you travel out of Fort Lauderdale, and it's a lot of um, what's the best way to put it? Kind of like ghetto crowd. And then you go out of Port Canaveral, it's a lot older people.
Yep. Yeah. I've done two of those three, but I still haven't got done the middle one.
The Fort Lauderdale one. Fort Lauderdale's been getting a lot of ships lately. It's really picking up. I wish they would modernize the whole port area, and the traffic flow is awful. But one of these days, maybe they will.
One of these days, hopefully for you.
That's why I'm glad this trip will be on to be sailing out of Miami, because I love sailing in and out of Miami. It's beautiful. And
Yes, it is.
especially if you sail out late enough in the day that you're there at sunset or at twilight and stuff, and you get to see the city all lit up and stuff. It's just wonderful. It's one of the nice things. Virgin is usually the last one out, so they often get to take advantage of that. But I think ours sails out at 5, so it won't be quite dark yet for that. But it'll still be an interest. It's always an interesting sight. And then if you're an early riser, it's always fun to watch as you're coming into Miami.
Yep. I missed that opportunity coming in back in Miami because I was still out like a light.
And most people usually are, because they arrive so early.
Yeah, well, they're arriving in like around 2-3 o'clock in the morning.
Let me check my.
Now, of course, that's pulling into the port, and they still got to do their customs and all that stuff. So by the time you wake up, they're pretty much cleared and almost just waiting for you to disembark. Because they're not going to kick you off the ship at like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, thank goodness they don't do that.
Okay, we're here. Off you guys get.
It's bad enough when you got to get off early, before 9 or 10 sometimes.
Yes, it is.
Especially if the night before if the day before is a sea day, then it's not so bad. But when you have a port day the day before, and then you get off the next morning, like ours will be their private island. We don't leave there till 10 o'clock at night, so there'll be a lot of people that won't be in very good shape probably come the next morning when it's time to get off the ship, because they'll have been partying all day on the island. And at least when you have a sea day, you got a chance to kind of get acclimated and get packed and all that kind of stuff, so you're ready to go the next morning.
And then that kind of somewhat sober up.
Yeah. Yep. Fortunately, I don't have that problem since I don't
Dep-
drink a lot.
depending upon what your definition of sober is.
I've had it. I remember when I was on the Horizon for a back-to-back, we had a problem on that ship because there was one couple that was so drunk, and everybody knew who they were because they were that obnoxious. It's like all over the ship, people knew who they were. Well, the next morning, they were the couple that didn't make it off the ship. And so you can't do anything until everybody is off the ship, including those who are doing a back-to-back. We were standing there in line and we couldn't leave the ship to get back on until that couple was found and located. I bet they're not cruising anymore anywhere. They probably got banned.
Possibility. And here it comes sailing on in.
Hey, Najuma.
One of our sailmates.
Glad to see you, Najuma. Yeah, I wish there were more people that I knew on this cruise coming up next week, but you never know. I'll see who I find.
Yes, sirree. Because I'm sure no one would be happy if they have to wait for someone else to get off the ship just so they can get on the ship and get off the ship to get back on the ship.
Yeah, they were loudly booed and everything else when because we were standing in line for like nearly an hour just waiting, and they couldn't do anything with us until they found them and got them off. Boy, when they located them, woo, they were all kinds of booed and catcalled and everything else. It's like, but they were probably so hungover they probably didn't know what was going on.
And then, do you have a rough idea where they were found, or
they were in the room still asleep? They were so passed out drunk they didn't hear anything.
Wow.
Yeah, that would be embarrassing to be in that situation.
And then potentially missing your flight.
Yeah. If they missed the flight, they deserved it because they were causing all kinds of issues. So,
because
I've only missed one flight because of a cruise. When I was in a cruise out of Galveston, for some reason there was a delay in customs or whatever, and it's like we weren't even getting off the ship till after 10 o'clock in the morning. And it's like, oh boy. And so when it got to be that late, I just went ahead and rebooked my flight because I had a flight a little after noon. Well, it's like an hour away to get to Houston to fly out. And we weren't even off the ship yet. So there was like no way I was going to make it for that flight. So I just booked a later one before I ever got off the ship. But I imagine there were a lot of people that missed their flights and had to reschedule. I never did find out the details of what the delay was, but we were just all sitting around in different areas on the ship because we had to be out of the rooms so they could do their stuff. So
yeah.
I was sitting, I think I was at the Alchemy bar. Of course, none of the bars were open either, so that's always a bummer.
Yep, for sure. And then, of course, it's always best to push it through the cruise line, so let them take care of it for you.
Yeah, and luckily I was on a cruise line shuttle to the airport, so I didn't have to reschedule that. I just had to reschedule my flight. So.
Yep. So you did your flight separately then?
Yeah, I don't ever do my flights through the cruise line.
I see. Well,
fortunately, I don't have to fly very often, but when I was having to, I just took care of them on my own.
You took care of that problem.
Yeah, but there's no way I would come in day of. I know too many horror stories of those people. So,
in a couple of weeks, we will have my past cruise story. So you will want to stick around for that story.
Your past cruise?
My past cruise.
Uh-huh.
But we're not covering that story today.
Save that for the video,
We're saving that for another night.
huh?
Some
Yep.
some people know the story. Some people don't. Some don't only know the bits and parts of it. But it
I
is
remember, I remember one
good
friend I
story.
picked up at the airport at 2:30. Fortunately, it was here in town, so it wasn't but a few minute drive to get to the cruise port. But she must have been like the last person on the ship because by the time we got to the cruise port, there was nobody out there in line. No one couldn't even find a porter or anything. It's like she got almost missed. Matter of fact, she was so close. Well, you remember Gary?
Yeah.
It was his sister. And
Oh,
he was so sure that she would miss the cruise, he booked her a flight from Fort Lauderdale to the Bahamas so that when she missed the cruise, she could catch up with us. But she made it. She got lucky and made it. The flight wasn't late, and we got over to the cruise port in time. But that's pushing it. I would never run something that late.
that's too tight.
Oh, I would be a nervous wreck if I did that.
Yeah.
That's a good thing with the land based. You don't have to worry about missing flights or missing your cruise because you can show up anytime. So
For sure, indeed. Because, but that when you come back to talk about resorts, is there like a set time you have to be out of the resort by?
usually, like standard motel times, you got to be out by 11.
And
Sometimes
then,
you can get delays and later checkouts and stuff. Like if you have a later flight or something, but they're pretty much like any other hotel. They have their standard in and out times. You got to be out by 11. Can't get in till 3 or 4. But if the rooms are available, you can get in early. If they're not too hard pressed for rooms, they'll probably be willing to extend the stays if you need a later checkout to get a later flight or something. So
and then basically, if you have to leave by 11, then and you have a late flight, then guess what? Chill around the airport.
yeah, either that or you can go on tours or hang around the hotel and use the facilities there. Or some a lot of times they'll have places they can store your luggage till you're ready to leave, so that you can still go swimming or dining or whatever.
And still have some drinks.
Yeah, exactly. But I've never had that kind of an issue when I've always had well scheduled stuff. So
Yep, no, but for sure one day I will have to definitely try one of those resorts to definitely compare it towards cruising.
yeah, very very similar, but they're also quite different in other ways. So they're worthwhile trying. They tend to be uh, pretty pricey sometimes too, especially the all inclusives. They can cost you like $1,000 a week or more. So
Yeah.
it's equally as expensive as going on a cruise sometimes. And when we were doing it, it was right after COVID, so things were relatively cheap because they wanted people to come, so it wasn't too bad.
They were desperate.
Yeah, but now it's just like cruising. It's high demand time. Everybody wants them, so prices are higher.
Yep.
And you can still find some relatively inexpensive
Oh
resorts.
yeah.
But a lot of times it's you get what you pay for too.
Mm-hmm. And then of course one of the always good things is when you are talking within cruising and land vacations. Yes, looks the prices up on your own, but then of course call a travel agency. What can they do for you? Because
Oh
you
yeah.
never know, they can get you a deal sometimes.
Yep, they can find you deals. A lot of times they have access to to information that you don't, so they can tell you more things about what to expect or what you can get or what they offer. And just there's so many different kinds of information you can get a hold of, and at least when you're traveling in a hotel, it's you can usually do a lot of research on the internet and find out what the hotels are like. And when I went to Branson there after that was my first trip after COVID started to open up, I got really fortunate because I went there, and one of my favorite performing groups in Branson, they also have their own hotel, and I always like to go there when I go to Branson. And they're a big family and stuff, and they treat you like family when you're there. Well, it's like my second day there, I had a kidney stone attack and had to go to the hospital, and I was in the hospital for 2 days, and they took care of everything for me while I was gone. They didn't charge me for the 2 days I was in the hospital. And so when I got out of the hospital and got back, I just extended my trip so I could still do everything I wanted to do while I had been in the hospital. So they were very good to me.
That's extremely nice because that's the two-day loss that they couldn't make revenue.
Yeah, they could have charged me for it, and I would have fully well expected them to. So I was very pleased when I got there and found out that they didn't charge me, because I remember I had to call them when I went to the hospital, I just thought I'd go and I'd get some medication or something and everything would be fine. Well, it was too severe, and they had to actually take me from Branson up to Springfield, and because their hospital didn't have facilities there to take care of kidney stones. So I had to be taken by ambulance up to Springfield for that. And so when I realized that was going to happen, I called the hotel because I couldn't even remember if I turned off the coffee pot in my room when I left. So I told them, I says, hey, I might be gone a day or two. So can you at least go check and see if I turned off the coffee pot? But they were very, very nice and accommodating. So.
Yeah. But I think I'm going to start wrapping this one on up. And I would like to thank you for coming on out here tonight.
Well, thank you for having me up here. I'm glad to be here.
And you're always more than welcome to come on out whenever you would like.
Well, you know me, I always like talking about travel. So.
Yeah, well, every Thursday night of the month, I always have an open mic. So you're always more than welcome to come on out, click the link, and come on up.
Well, you never know when you may see me back again.
Yes. I always have that open mic once a month. And who knows where the talks can go.
Yeah, they can be interesting sometimes.
I just try to make sure we kind of keep it within a cruising travel talk, but if it goes a little off the grid, it goes a little off the grid.
Yeah, we know how open mics can go off the grid sometimes.
But thanks again for coming on out and helping with talking about the differences between cruising versus land-based vacations.
My pleasure, anytime.
Yeah. So I'm going to wrap this one all up here and hope you guys all have a fantastic and great night.
Good night, everybody.
So all until next time, I'll see you on the high seas or wherever Charles may take us. Bye for now.